and strategic partnerships, being a podcaster or blogger can be very lucrative if marketed right, and of course with the right timing. Because being a blogger or podcaster is the new age style of media, sometimes taking the place of traditional communications for former brick and mortar corporations just as a whole. And in STEM, being a podcaster or blogger represents elements of all four facets: the science, technology, the engineering, and the math. So if you're interested in starting a blog or podcast, feel free to contact me for one-on-one coaching at april@thestembroker.com. Now, number 3 on today's The STEM Brokers list of the top 5 STEM side gigs to hack into with little to no experience is an election worker. And for me, to be more specific, I serve as a voter assistance specialist, otherwise known as a VAS. In 2008, when I returned to Kansas City, Missouri, I wanted to get involved in the community once again. And as a former military spouse, being active in the community, whether it was the military or the civilian community, was a way for me to stay connected while away from home in Kansas City. So I began serving as an election day worker while my family was stationed at Fort Campbell, Tennessee in the late 1990s. Now, as a child, I distinctly remember the early mornings, going to the election poll with my mother to watch her vote. I would stand inside the curtained off station with her, and I would try to peek at which slot she was punching in with her red hole punchers. How many of you guys remember that? I mean, now today we have the e-voters where you just, punch on the screen. But somehow or rather, that moment defined my love for civic duty, to do my part as a U.S. citizen. And I've proudly served as an election worker in 3 counties and in 2 different states to this date. Now, as a poll worker, you are required to attend training, which is usually held a few days prior to the actual election day. And training typically lasts about 2 hours, but that's also the time where you are assigned your voter location. Now, prior to leaving, you test your equipment during the training and you're sworn in as an official election worker. And then you're given your supplies and materials for the election. On election day, a VAS reports to his or her site at about 5 a.m. It's an early and a long day. But you report at 5 a.m. to set up your station, and then there's a team there, so you also assist other election workers as needed. Now, being a VAS, it's really a cool STEM job because you're like the on-site hero, the tech support, the database technician, the troubleshooter for that day. All day. Yeah. I mean, you are the geek that's sitting in the corner, that's peering over your laptop, and yeah, you're secretly hoping that no voters are directed your way. Now, I don't say that because of the voters. No, what I mean, since the VAS they're like the on-site troubleshooter of all database issues. If a voter is heading your way, Houston, we have a problem. Now, typically, it's issues such as an address update because a voter has moved, a marriage or divorce name change, or a misspelling or typo of a name or a street address. I mean, I remember one of my recent elections that most of the election database changes that I recorded were from widows reporting that their spouses were now deceased. I know, kind of morbid. But on a positive note, each year, the Kansas City Election Board utilizes between 800 to 1,200 election day workers in various capacities around the city in order to get the job done. So if you're interested in becoming a VAS for the next election, here's what you need to do. Contact your local election board and let them know you're interested in working as an election worker. Now, I work for the Kansas City Election Board, known as the KCEB. So feel free to tell them, hey, April sent me. Now, 2, to qualify, you must be a registered voter of Kansas City within Jackson County. 3, you must indicate your party affiliation, Democrat or Republican. 4, you must be able to read, write, and speak English fluently. Have access to your own transportation. And last but not least, attend the mandatory training session before each election. Now, here's the cool part. After saying all that, you are compensated for your training at $35, and as a VAS, I can only speak for the pay for them, you're paid $165 per election. So yeah, calculate that for a grand total of $200. And even better is that you are paid within 2 weeks following the election. Now, how cool is that? Can't get any better. You're serving your local elections board. You're serving the nation. I mean, because I've worked presidential elections, primaries. I've done the gamut. So it's definitely a win-win situation regardless. Now, number 2 on today's The STEM Brokers podcast list of the top 5 side gigs to hack into with little to no experience is a mystery shopper. Now, I know you're wondering, does this job really exist? My answer to you is yes. I am one, and I've been a mystery shopper since 2013. Now, like I said before, if there is a cool STEM or an online job to be found, I will find it. And this time around, though I had to submit my verification and personal documents online without a phone interview, I took a huge leap of faith and jumped right in. And I mean, what was there to lose? Well, it could have been my identity, but thankfully it wasn't. But as a mystery shopper, as with most of the other cool STEM jobs I've discussed so far, there is little to no experience needed. Now, since being a mystery shopper for the past 2 years, I've learned that the most important skill is writing with a serious twist of ethnography. Ethnography is the study of people's natural actions and reactions in their natural settings. Well, actually, in this case, the setting is their workplace. And in just my 2 short years, I've eaten at steakhouses, I've enjoyed the best barbecue joints, I've enjoyed valet parking, and even did some retail shopping a few times. Recently, I've even been able to have my oldest daughter, a teenager, tag along to the movies with me. That's right. We both got to enjoy a free movie and refreshments and got to enjoy a blockbuster movie while mystery shopping. Yeah, can't beat that. That's a win-win-win, right? So as far as training, for some shops, there are pre-tests that are required. If you don't pass them, you can't do the shop. Other mystery shopping companies require online testing on a quarterly basis, just to make sure that you're sharp or to be aware of the changes. But the cool thing is, if you keep your rating up, and mine is an average of 8 or 9 on a scale of 10, so I am good. Pat on my back. But if you keep your rating up, and if your writing is error-free and very detailed, then the mystery shopper schedulers will begin to contact you directly to request you to perform a shop. I mean, in any given month, when I was really on the grind of mystery shopping, I could easily rack up to nearly $200. I mean, plus on top of that, I was getting, like I said before, a free steak dinner, retail shopping, etc., because you're reimbursed. Now, if you think you could be a mystery shopper, if I've piqued your interest about moving forward and now realizing it does exist, contact me at april@thestembroker.com or attend my upcoming lunch and learn on the ins and outs of becoming a mystery shopper. Visit my website, thestembroker.com, for training dates and times soon to be released. And drum roll, number 1 on today's The STEM Brokers list of the top 5 STEM side gigs to hack into with little to no experience is an ebook author. Once again, I've already said each of these jobs or STEM careers or part-time gigs that I have mentioned today, I have personally done. Been there, done that. So the year was 2012, and I was facing the fact that my job at the time was being eliminated. I know, it sucked. Now, thank God I was given a couple of weeks notice of the layoff, but I had to find a way to sustain myself and my 3 children. Now, I love to write poetry, short stories. I mean, I am a former featured columnist, 6 years running while a military spouse at Fort Campbell, Tennessee. So I decided to push the limits and write my first book. Now, even though I was awarded severance pay, I wasn't in a position to have it fully fund my book project. So, after researching more economical ways to publish a book, I chose to self-publish. Not one, but 2 times. My first book, Good Bosses Gone Bad, How to Survive the Workplace When Your Boss Sucks, was self-published in March of 2012. Now, the timing couldn't have been more perfect. I planned book signings and my book was available online and through direct sales through me. The self-publishing experience was so positive and encouraging that I promised myself that I would try to write a book every 2 years. Well, in 2014, I self-published The Soul of a Single Parent, How to Snap Back and Get Your Groove On. And since it was my second stint of self-publishing, I pretty much knew the ins and outs, and this experience was practically seamless. It's almost that time again, I know, the 2-year challenge. And yes, I'm gearing up to write yet my 3rd book, which I believe will solely be an ebook. Just totally available online only. And I think I'm going to self-publish using the Kindle ebook format this time. So, I mean, 3rd time's the charm, right? So, and I know the verdict is still out on ebooks versus real books, but you know, as long as there's a market for it, readers will keep demanding ebooks, which will drive the need for them. So stay tuned and visit my website, thestemmbroker.com, for updates and announcements on my next book. Now, as far as getting started as an ebook or a self-published author, once again, little to no experience is needed, except a natural knack for writing, where it totally captivates your reading audience to the point that, you know, you have a page turner. But equally important is that you have to have a story to tell, which is your story, and it's regardless of your education. Now, honestly, after people found out that I was an author, 2-time author, I have freelanced as a ghostwriter for a client or 2. Now, that brought in extra money. And remember, your experience is like none other, literally. So, go tell someone about it. How? In a book. And are you ready to share your story? That's my question as I kind of wrap up the show today. If so, if you're ready to tell your story in a book, contact me at april@thestembroker.com for coaching opportunities to publish your very own first book, or second book, or 3rd. Seize the moment, because we all know time waits for no man or woman, of course, right? So there you have it. The top 5 STEM side gigs to hack into with little to no experience. Now, as the STEM broker, I coach people like you, my listeners, who are transitioning and are considering a career change to a STEM field. So if you have questions and are ready to start your successful transition, contact me on Twitter at the Twitter handle rather, at the STEM broker, or email me at april@thestembroker.com to take it to the next level in a new career in STEM. Other than that, for more details to learn more about my Girls in STEM initiative, visit my website, thestembroker.com, or email me to book me at your next corporate retreat, STEM conference, or professional development session. Now, if you're listening to the STEM Broker podcast, which of course you are, then chances are you know a girl and or even have a daughter, niece, or sister that is possibly interested in a STEM career and who is in the 6th through 12th grade. Maybe she doesn't know it yet, or perhaps she does. Either way, I want to personally invite you to enroll her in our Girls in STEM Bootcamp from July 6th through the 8th. Now, the boot camp focuses on the soft skills, the career readiness side of truly preparing a girl to pursue a successful STEM career. See, as a career readiness professional, and as I mentioned before, a parent of 3 future STEM technologists, 2 of whom are daughters, I know that this is where the missing link is. Career readiness is the critical key to not only get but to keep a girl interested in pursuing a career in STEM. So I encourage you to partner with us, the STEM Broker, in one of 3 of the following ways. Way number 1 to help keep STEM alive is to sponsor one girl to attend the boot camp. through a STEM scholarship starting as low